Welcome to Hat-Trick City on WXCI 91.7, Danbury's only all-hockey radio show.
I know that some in our audience don't know the finer points of hockey.
You want me to dummy you again?
Hat tricks, baby! Woo-hoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very special episode of Hat-Trick City. I'm your host, DJ Pattycake. As always, joined by the one and only DJ Uncle Matt here in the WXCI studios. Today we got a quick one for you guys. Semi-quick, I should say. We got an interview here with Xavier Abdella. We kind of wanted to give you guys some content before, Thursday night, just to kind of give a little amp, because I know it's been a rough few weeks with the team, and so give a little insight from at least X's perspective, and then this Thursday our guests, which should we keep them under wraps or should we tell them to get hyped?
Might as well tell them.
For this week's guests, you'll get their perspective from Johnny Ruiz and Kyle Gonzalez, but we're going to talk about the last game that we just played, which was a win over the Elmira River Sharks. But before that, we quickly wanted to talk about some new things that we're going to be doing pretty soon. Matt and I have decided that we're going to bulk up our episodes a little bit. Not like bulk up the main episodes, but bulk up the catalog. We're going to have some interviews that are going to be streaming only, not on the radio, only on streaming, of interviews with former Danbury players who have played here with either, the Titans, the Whalers, you name it, at some point, or even the Hat-Tricks at some point. So we're going to get, guys and people from that squad. And
the idea is just to bring more of the different perspectives of the guys who've been through here and played for Danbury and have different stories to share. And, we always hear that, so we don't know how frequently we will do it, but we're thinking probably once or twice a month, at the bare minimum. There'll be
at least
these
bi-weekly.
Yeah, these will be extra episodes. They'll not be like special episodes. There'll be another episode. And they probably won't be necessarily as long as an episode where we have multiple guests. We won't be dragging junior guys or WestCon guys onto the episode. They'll kind of be isolated with these interview opportunities for as much as we can if timing allows. That's something that we're excited about, and we hope you stay tuned in. We've got other stuff on the horizon, but we have to have some meetings with the third parties before we can announce that stuff. But yeah, there is stuff in the works, so stay tuned.
And then very quickly before we get into this episode, we just wanted to recap the Hat-Tricks game against Elmira. They ended up coming on top with a 6-5 win out there. Which the highlights, the first star of the game, coming from Bodan Sinchenko, grabbed a hat trick out on the road, and then of course Gonzo getting that beautiful game winner towards the end there. Really, it was a big back and forth game. There was never really a time where it was still, I'd say, really until after Gonzo's goal is where they really just kind of held it down and kept it 6-5.
Yeah, I actually watched a lot of that game again last night. I had watched it late, kind of, I guess that was Sunday morning after it took place. And I wanted to watch it again last night. Look, there's some different guys out there for Danbury right now. You have to give it time. There needs to be a little marination. And we're starting to see it come together. Listen, Elmira got better. You could just tell from the ground up they're being run better. You can look on the YouTube page and just see there's a few more people in the crowd. Again, it's going to take time. This is the third team in basically 3 years.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, there was no Elmira enforcers that 1 year. Then they came back as the Mammoth. But ultimately, it's been very volatile in Elmira. And as we speak about with a couple of our guests, it's important for these opponents to actually have strong businesses. and weak teams for us.
Yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, it's really important that these teams stay in business. So it was nice to see the River Sharks, even though I still think their name stinks. It was really nice to see that there were a couple more fans in the crowd. That's a great. There's no doubt about it. These former ECHL arenas, especially, they're perfect for this league. Elmira is a perfect building for this league geographically. It fits into the league. There's history there too. There's UHL history with the league. There's FHL history with Danbury and Elmira. And if you really look at it, with the exception of Watertown, that really didn't have any pro sports for a long time. I think they had minor league baseball years and years ago. But, they're bringing back the Fed has brought back a lot of old UHL locations, ECHL, UHL, obviously Binghamton with the AHL. But, I mean, Port Huron, UHL, IHL location. Motor City, UHL location. They might have actually had, original UHL too, Colonial League. Obviously Elmira started out in the UHL, had a long run in the ECHL. Binghamton, AHL market. Watertown, kind of an original market to the Federal League, still kind of hanging on like Danbury is, although Danbury is doing really good. I mean, the crowds have been great and all that. Binghamton also had some experience briefly in the UHL before transitioning kind of back to the AHL, or however that worked exactly. But, so a lot of these markets are ready to go. And somebody like Elmira, if they could just get it going again, the right leadership there and the right lease. And that's another thing that the fans have to understand. There's got to be the right person willing to lose money at the very beginning, just getting the thing off the ground. And there's also got to be the right audience. And Elmira has always been a good place. So it's going to be great when they get that up and running again, and we can really have really competitive games all the time. It was a competitive game last Saturday night. They're just a step away. They're obviously doing pretty good in the standings, and they're just a step away.
And honestly, well said. And without further ado, here is Xavier Abdella.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Hat Trick City. Our guest today is Xavier Abdella. It's great to have you here. We're on to a new season, and you're back with us. Why don't you tell the listeners how you decided to just come back?
Happy to be back. Episode 2 here, so thanks for having me on again. And I think after the way we went out last season, I was just super excited, and I know we had a core group coming back, so just excited to be back playing with them, playing for Billy. I love the fans in Danbury too, so kind of just all that coming together. It was it's close to home. All just made sense.
What did you do over the summer?
I actually stayed around here, worked, trained, got to travel a bit. Actually, I travel a lot, which is good.
Where'd you go?
I went to Cape Cod twice. I went to Florida twice. I went to D.C., Portland, Maine. I went home for a couple times too.
Did you skate in Cape Cod or any of those places?
Just skated here. We had Breakfast Club. I'm not sure if you've heard of the infamous Breakfast Club.
yeah.
But
No, I've heard about it. Yeah. What did you get out of those skates being around the guys,
It's just good. I think normally during the season there's a lot of pressure and it's more work, so it was cool to just be able to get up and have fun purely just with them. And also at 6:30 in the morning, it's good to push each other and do that, kind of hold each other accountable. I mean, if someone doesn't show up, kind of just joke around with them, say, hey, where were you? But, it's a summer. Everyone's got kind of their own responsibilities and things they got to take care of. But, it was fun. Just chopping it up, not as much pressure. Yeah.
So I guess we're just a little bit into the season now. What do you cough it up to at this point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so far in the season, I don't think we're having this start that we expected, but still have a lot of games left, and I know it's in the room, so should be good. Kind of just put it together, take it day by day, keep building.
How often is it that, in your previous years, you moved around, I think even in college, right? Did you transfer schools?
Mm-hmm.
How, easy is it for you to adjust to playing with new teammates and stuff like that? Just in terms of, I know as being a defenseman, there's that kind of dynamic where you're running parallel. How how's it been this season with that type of adjustment?
Yeah, I think we sneaky do have a lot of guys on the team from last year, which is good. So I think we have a good core to kind of bring back like the habits and things that like just Danbury hockey that we had. But yeah, it is cool having new guys around. Got some funny guys, some characters in the room for sure. So, but yeah, I think just moving around, like you just learn to meet new people, you go to war with people, so you become close pretty quickly.
Tell me a little bit about something that maybe the fans don't see behind the scenes is that you warm up a lot. Just when we were on the road together, a lot using that small ball, that small hard. It's like almost the size of a golf ball, or is it a golf ball? It is a golf ball.
Yeah.
I thought it might have been some type of training ball. You know what I mean? Like that they advertise for hockey. How did you get into that? And it's amazing that you always find a place to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the golf ball, and that might have started like high school for me. Just something to like, kind of stick handle, like make the touches, I don't know, on your stick, on your blade, just having your head up, thinking about trying to like visualize and stuff like that. So I do a little bit of that, just like a good way to like loosen up the upper body, and then towards the end, kind of just like visualizing, working on like muscle tension and being loose in certain situations, knowing when to like brace and stuff like that.
Let me ask you something we might have asked you on your last episode, but we might as well bring it back to the top. I know you're from the Albany area, and there was minor league hockey and all that stuff up there, but what was your entry into hockey? Was it a family member? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my uncle got me skating when I was 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was a hockey fan growing up, played hockey. He went to RPI, and they used to be a wagon. I think had to be the 70s or 80s when they won national championships. So that's when kind of he was following the team, and then when I started playing sports, it was just that. I tried playing like t-ball, tried playing soccer, tried doing basketball, but it was always just hockey for me.
Was the uncle mostly, I guess, a college hockey fan, huh?
Like pro too.
Yeah.
But definitely an RP. He's born and raised in Troy.
Who do Albany or Troy people, who do they go for in the NHL?
A lot of Rangers fans.
Was he a Rangers fan?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm a Stars fan.
You're a Stars fan, but was he a Rangers fan?
Oh, he's a Blackhawks fan.
Wow.
I think he just likes the original 6 team and like the classic jerseys that they have.
That's pretty cool. Did you ever go to like any River Rats or games of that?
River Rats games for sure. A few Albany Devils games, but the River Rats were classic.
What was your kind of memory of that?
Like when you're younger, it's just awesome. Like seeing the guys fly around, like trying to get sticks, trying to go for knuckles. A few fights, definitely a little bit more fighting back then too. So I remember there was one game, I wasn't there, but like some guy climbed out of the penalty box and like over the glass to try and fight the guy. It's probably a clip you can find online. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was like a classic, definitely venue for minor league hockey for many years. Mm-hmm. Something we talk about all the time on this show, but it's nice to kind of have a guy, a player from Danbury, kind of be from upstate New York to know about. Do you think this league could ever work in Albany? Is the rink just too big?
I think the rink might be a little bit too big.
Yeah.
But they have the East Coast team in Adirondack. It's like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour north. But
it's not the same.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, speaking on New York, this past weekend, you guys played Elmira, the brand new, we'll say new in quotations, River Sharks team.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the third Elmira franchise in Federal League history, yeah.
I mean, were the vibes any different? I know it's, they've ditched the purple and orange. Now it's more the red and black. Kind of how was it?
It was a military appreciation night, so they had a decent crowd. I would say the attendance, I don't know if it was because of that special night, but the attendance was slightly better than normal there. So I don't know if it's like just a new season or it was for that. But, yeah, I mean, I think they got some solid pieces over there. Like, it's never easy playing in that barn, but yeah, I think as long as we kind of keep playing our game, shouldn't have to worry too much.
It's good to hear that they actually have some more fans coming in because, like I always said, you have to think that they could just at least on the comparatively to how they did in the ECHL, you have to think that they could mirror that, just like Binghamton is. Binghamton's probably done better, I bet you, in attendance at times because I know I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I bet you this is something our co-host, engineer, and researcher Pat Fournette could look up. But I think at one point Binghamton was selling the tickets for $7. So that's going to get a lot of people in the rink.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get a lot of families in the rink more often than not. Going to sell a lot of popcorn and jerseys and whatever else it is that's for sale. I really was bro, we've always been kind of buddies, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I was really proud of you when I saw this hat that Herm pulled out.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit of swag in that hat. I had a New Jersey Nets one of like that script that you had. I know exactly what it was. How did you come? Was it you sat with somebody? You designed it yourself?
Yeah, I just kind of, I seen some of the merch, and I do like a lot of the merch we have with our logo and stuff, but I just thought it'd be pretty dope to have like a script hat like that. Like it's like that classic 80s, like vintage 90s type look. So yeah, I just designed it myself. It was kind of funny the way like you can't find that font anywhere for like that I put the hat tricks in. The company that like made all those hats.
What company was it?
I'd have to. It was like a super deep cut, like the name of the company and like font.
Yeah, I forget what it was, man. Like I had that hat. I definitely had a New Jersey Nets one of that hat. For the basketball fans out there, I grew up in Queens when Kenny Anderson was like one of the top picks of the net. Everybody had a Nets hat. It was just like somehow the New Jersey Nets were now like a super popular team. But no, it was cool to see that the players are getting a little more involved and stuff like that. And it was cool this summer. I think we had that little event at what's the name of the Italian restaurant? Gallo.
Mm-hmm.
And was it your grandmother who came down? Yeah. So have they been to a game this season? Who comes down there? Because I know it's your grandma, and then it's sometimes I believe your aunt.
Yep. Normally, if the whole fam is there, it's my grandma, my mom, my aunt, my uncle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all. This is taking about 2.
It's only 2 hours.
But
pretty much exactly 2 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe 2 in like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
So the one I'm seeing for those hats, it's sports specialties.
Yes,
that's what it
sports
is.
Specialties. Yeah.
And then the Binghamton tickets, they had a game in 21 on the 8th. There was a sellout. They wanted to sell out the Bull, so they had $8 tickets.
What's the cheapest ticket then? Like I said, I could be wrong, but I was almost sure that they had real cheap tickets. You know what I mean?
I like Elmira's rink. I think.
Yeah, I think it could get rocking.
If they packed it, or
and I don't know if the fans that don't. I know Ron Rogel travels to Elmira, and his family was with him up there this weekend. But there's that area where I was filling up the water bottles last season, and you were doing your golf bowl thing, where like there's a whole concession area and stuff that's not even open during the game. So it's just not appropriate now, or at least last season. Pat?
Yeah, so I'm seeing $19.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing at least a lot of on Ticketmaster.
I will stand corrected. It might have been a couple of seasons back when they first started where they were really, I think they were as cheap as $8 or $9. You know what I mean?
I believe it.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just, there's the seating there, and it's been so great to see this division develop. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in this hat tricks era where you have, listen, just coming to games up here for years, starting out in this league when they played against the Aviators in Brooklyn in a rink that I play beer league in now. It's so incredible to see Danbury be able to go up against Binghamton and Elmira, and I really think in the next few years we're going to see another surprise. It's a gradual thing. People started to accept the league in the last, I would want to say, 5 years. I think since Danbury got back into it, a lot of markets have. I mean, look at how many markets looked at it. Columbus, since Danbury got back in, right? Columbus, Mississippi, Binghamton. Obviously, Elmira's hung around, so it's great to see this division develop. I was just telling my cousin, I may have to share this on the Hat Tricks Instagram. My cousin Joe is a huge Bruins fan. Did I send this to you?
You might have.
He has his whole basement as a man cave with the Bruins stuff and all these photos, and he has it wired so that these lights blink in his basement when the Bruins score a goal. He doesn't need to do anything. They score, the lights just start. I'll show you it right now. But it's just like, And I was trying to tell them, it's like, we don't quite have that type of stuff around here, but we really do have, like, the most devout, fans.
100%.
And you see so many people have become friends. But, yeah, it's so, like, when I interact with hockey fans like that, I always try and get them to come down here. Do your boys that don't play hockey, like the Jay Baruchels from the Goon, do they come down? They ever come up catch up with you? Or
yes, two of my best friends came to a game last year, which is fun.
That's awesome. Like guys that don't play or just old friends. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool, right?
Yeah.
Like getting the chance to play in front of friends like that and family. What do you think? Just the way the season has started. I hate to have you single anybody out, but like who let's just say of the new guys on the team, who do you think's been maybe even in the locker room kind of a strong leader and a great addition?
Yeah, give me a second to go around the room, kind of think. I'll say first person that comes to mind, new goalie, MC. I think he's a good guy. He's a hell of a player. McCollum.
Yeah, McCollum. Yeah.
Stoge, Brandon. I don't even know how you say his last name.
Storyevsky.
Yeah, Brandon. He's fun.
People often say that when a team wins a championship, comes to different opportunities and different contact from different people. Having won the championship here, did you talk, even just contact? Was there contact with you from other teams from even overseas or even locally in the States?
Yeah, a little bit, but honestly, I was pretty dead set on coming back. Kind of like we talked about.
No, I knew you were, but I mean, just in general, was there inquiries after a championship type of thing? Hey, are you interested or type of a deal?
Yeah, for sure.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about just what do you as a player? How much time do you guys actually have to use the rink when it's not practice? How much time during the day outside of formal scheduled stuff do you guys actually get to use the rink?
Kind of as much time as you allot for yourself, I mean, sometimes there's work. So after work, it's kind of just chill out.
Right.
Yeah, it depends. I joined the Edge gym with Yao, Jared Yao. So we kind of split a membership. But I know some guys lift before practice, some guys lift after practice. I know some guys come back later in the day and just, chill out and then go. So I think it's really kind of just on your own schedule. I would say maybe besides the actual practice time, which is an hour to an hour and a half, probably another 2 or 3 hours at the rink every day.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, we're there an hour and a half minimum before practice, probably an hour after practice, and then if you want to work out, another hour on top of that.
That's pretty cool. I mean, when you go out there and you have your own time, is it on the ice, is it kind of similar to a gym workout? Are you doing a different thing every day, or do you focus on skating? Or
strictly on the ice? No, I was just talking about mostly in the weight room. Strictly on the ice, I think you'd probably have to talk to Jim or see if there's any extra. But guys also do go out early, 30 minutes before practice. So
get there as early as you can.
Yeah, if you want to go out, there's no one on before us, so if you really wanted to, you could be on the ice at 9. You'd probably be pretty tired for a 10 a.m. practice, but yeah.
Not that I hate to put you on the spot about this, but have you ever gone to the public stick and pucks just to skate and train? Or
when I was younger, that's what I would do.
Yeah. But even when you're here and you ever feel no?
I did a men's league game. It's just it's fun, but it's you don't want to get bad habits and that's it for me.
Interesting.
If I'm out there, I mostly want to get better, So that at least during the summers. But there's always I've skated in men's league tournaments. Those are fun because it's a little bit of compete. It's still
you're going up and down.
Yeah, sometimes here it's the level of play obviously isn't much that high, so it's not crazy fun if you're kind of just wheeling around guys who probably can't even skate that well.
Right.
No offense to them, but
yeah. When you it's funny because I feel I play beer league hockey and I'm around you guys sometimes, and it's what's your preferred equipment now? What's your stick now?
I use Warrior.
Yeah.
I was using CCM for like the past week because my stick broke. But yeah, Warrior. I like Warrior. I stick to whatever stick. Like I don't like to switch it up like that. You know.
What about your skates?
Bauer. I've been in Bauers. I had Trues in college. I love True skates, but they're not as durable. But the Bauers now I like those.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, something that Pat and I only got to do once last year was actually, well, Pat's not at the playing hockey. He's at the skating around with the puck stage right now. But we got to skate in Dom Alessandro's backyard last year. Are you the type of, like, growing up in upstate and stuff, is there opportunity like to do like a little pond hockey and stuff all the time? Or
Yeah, some people do build rinks in their yard, but yeah, I remember one of my teammates' families had like, his grandparents had like a lake house, and then so like the whole team would go over, all the parents, and like we would all be able to like buzz pond hockey together, which is cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's
like up by Lake George, called Glen Lake.
So you're one guy who's, like I said, you're designing hats, and you're I guess you've finished school, right? You're done with school and stuff like that. What's your kind of long-term plan? Would you like to get into coaching? Is there a career you've thought about, or?
Honestly, right now, just like anything where I can just be creative and maybe not sit at a desk and use Excel.
Using Excel sucks, but you're gonna usually have to sit at your desk a little bit to be creative.
There's definitely a grind to it, but like Excel is also a great tool. But I can't be doing spreadsheets, so I don't know.
What did you actually study at school?
Undergrad was marketing with digital media minor, and then I got my master's in business administration.
Wow, so you got a master's. Where'd you get your master's? At King's?
Wilkes.
Wilkes.
I went to Stevenson my first 2 years. I studied fashion merchandising, and I transferred, became marketing, and I did 4 years. So 6 years total.
What was Stevenson all about? Like, it's a small school that kind of just got hockey, right?
Yeah, they got hockey. 2016 was the first year.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was like, my first year there was a new program, and my first year at Wilkes was a new program.
Wow.
2 years later, yeah, it was kind of cool. But, yeah, Stevenson's a great school. It's like 30 minutes outside Baltimore, which is cool. So you take Metro, it's like $1.75.
Wow.
30 minutes, and you're right wherever you want to go between, like, Towson and Baltimore. So we would go $2 ticket down. The Orioles, I mean, they had a good year this year, but normally pretty trash. So you could pretty much go to an Oriole game and back for like $15.
Wow.
Without like food or anything, but like, yeah.
What made you transfer?
My coach from high school became the coach at Wilkes, and I just thought it'd be a better opportunity for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's an interesting. That probably doesn't happen every day. Your high school coach becomes a college coach. Maybe it has. I mean, I know that's like usually that used to be part of the deal in college basketball. Like, you got to take my coach as the assistant coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Some old school shit stuff.
I mean, you could say that if you want.
Things.
We are after 10, so you're all good.
Okay, yeah, it's a late night.
Yeah, and then, on top of that, I know at the beginning of the show we're kind of catching up with what you did over the summer, but I know one thing we didn't get to talk to you about was the championship. Obviously, the game-winning goal, you had the assist on that. Kind of walk us through what you remember from that play. I mean, I know that's probably all just a blur at this point, but, anything you can recall from it.
Yeah. No, I just remember it was funny looking back at it. I was out there for so long before, and I don't know how I wasn't so tired. But honestly, it was just like a great hockey play. Like, you watch it, like, J-Mac kind of wins a battle and, like, bumps it to me. I just take the ice I get, pass to Z. He soaks the guy in, dishes it back, and then I just put a shot on net. Marshy's there. So four of us touched the puck, But, yeah, just skating up the ice, even in that moment, it just felt like my legs weren't tired. I felt like I was kind of just, like, floating. I was, like, dancing up, so that was cool. And then when I shot it, I was like, maybe this will go in. It didn't, and then I seen Marshy put it in, and it was, like, the greatest weight off your shoulders, especially in college. Played in 2 championship games, and we lost. So, like, to finally win something was, oh, my gosh, it was amazing.
I think the thing that I think about the most is that, it just, and I'm sure the team felt adversity and pressure and stuff. It just never felt like we were down in that series. Like, even after we went behind in Carolina, that just seemed like That just seemed like a snafu.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we went down there and played them, and the truth was that series shouldn't have been structured the way it was. We should have probably just played one game there, and we could have beat them 3 games at home, and then like had a possible. I mean, whatever it was, it worked out. But I just think that at the end of the day, there was just like a belief that we had them. Like they, you know, like especially like I think that something needs to be addressed. I may have said it, I may not have, but you know, like when their fans put on Facebook that they were gonna blow the roof off of Danbury, like they were gonna make more noise than us. That was just where like the gloves were off. Like, are you put that on Facebook? Is reckless. That's the worst thing you could have done.
100%.
Like that's the worst. Like listen. Like if you said, "Hey, we're gonna come in there and we're gonna show them that Carolina's got good fans," I would have been like, "Yo, I'm down with that, man. I know you are. Like I know you're gonna." But to say that you were gonna blow the roof off.
Come in our rink.
No way,
No,
dude. It just wasn't like this wasn't gonna happen. What did they think? This was gonna be like a Ranger game where like half the crowd, or an Islander game where like half the crowd is there, more than half the crowd's there for the other team? It just wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, like, and at the end of the day, that was something special to be a part of. You know, because there's media around the team and there are write-ups and recaps. But you only really know the story from what you remember if you're there. Like I have gone through the trouble of taking notes and trying to write a book about this as I'm getting closer now to finishing. But those collected thoughts, if it makes sense, it's just like you only know what it feels like to win at this level if you're there. You can't quite. Like it's there's not going to be an NFL Films version unless, you know, Chris Lynch gets bored one night or Pat gets bored. There's not going to be an NFL Films version of what happened there. I mean, it would be cool if there was, and if any like YouTube trolls want to do it, we'll broadcast it somehow on our channels. But if that makes sense, like you have to be in the crowd to know what it's like to react to something like that. You can watch it on TV and feel great for your son, but to really kind of comprehend how that was a great championship run. I mean, there was so much adversity for the organization. I mean, you know, Billy talked about losing early on with the organization. That was one thing, but what about the shutdown? Like they had to shut the team down because of this plague that was going around the world that nobody saw coming, you know. And I've said it to you guys before. They were running full steams ahead in March of 20. It was great crowds here. Mm-hmm. It wasn't quite the best crowds, but it was getting really good. It was like the stands were full. The end zones were a little empty, and I can't quite say if the bar on the other side was open yet. Maybe it was, but people hadn't kind of gravitated there. But the crowd was coming, and then COVID. So to kind of watch it have to stop again, you know, I mean, everybody who likes this team for a long time has seen hockey come and go here, several times. So it was just like, I think that's, you know, something that you got to keep in mind. You know what I mean? It's like it took a lot to get it back, and then COVID struck. So that's what I'll remember about it. Just kind of like really experiencing it. Watch, like, you know, if you're a Met fan and you go to 10,000 Met games and you were there in '86 or whatever when they won, I'm sure you have a similar affinity. But like, there's not going to be as much media. There's not going to be a 30 for 30 about this. It belongs to the city and the people and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, just to kind of go back on that, I don't know if you guys remember during those bus trips, I'd have that little SD camera. I still have footage on that. I got to go through that again. I haven't touched it since we won.
That's cool.
So,
and you have tons of audio too from these shows that you could blend in
these
with
I could
it.
splice in. So maybe I'll make like a found footage type thing and be like, this
Prove me
was
wrong, Pat.
From whatever. I mean, I don't know. It'd be an interesting one to say the least. I know towards the end I kind of fell off with it because, you know, I didn't I got superstitious towards the end because I was like, oh, I'm still recording, and then you started doing bad, and I was like, let me stop, and then we got better, so I was like, all right, maybe I got to stop for a little bit, but I tried to get what I could and get it in its most natural form, like. When we went to McDonald's, I got that on film, but it was the McDonald's that it closed after the Elmira game.
That was crazy.
So then we had to go to a gas station, and we're all
that's
whatever.
funny though.
I literally
Stuff
had
like that.
a Slim Jim and like a Twinkie that night at the gas station. It was rough, man. They weren't even making sandwiches or anything. It was just,
That was a crazy week because the week prior we got stuck in Port Huron.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then we got back, played the playoff game 2 days later, and then that was in Elmira.
Yep.
We had to eat at a gas station because
That was crazy.
McDonald's
That was wild.
closed. Yeah, and then play the next night.
I totally wanted to be in charge of food because I found that great. I got to give a shout out to that little pizzeria. I forget what it's called across from Elmira, but that place is actually pretty good, man. And I was like, for upstate New York in the middle of nowhere, we would have been better off just getting pizzas and keeping it moving.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know. I'm trying to find the name of the place.
is it Vinny's?
It could be. I'm looking up
Yeah,
First
it
Arena.
wasn't bad. Like, it was pretty good, man. And the sandwich I had was good. They were baking their own bread, I think, or it was hot, so it was good. What do you got?
I'm trying to find it for you. Was it outside the arena, like directly outside, or was
Like
it
a-
like in
right,
that? It was
like-
in that little
Yeah,
strip with
in that
the
little that shopping center there.
What was it? Oh, Vincenzo's.
Vincenzo's. Yeah, not bad. Shout out to Vincenzo's, man. That place was pretty good. X, where's your favorite place that you've played outside of the Fed? Like the coolest rink you ever got to play in under any circumstance?
Two that come to mind. When I was in high school, we played at the Sabres rink.
Wow.
2 like U18 games. Yeah, at their rink. It was cool, but it's tough because it's like obviously a full arena and it's not packed. So like when the puck is up in the air, you can't see. It's like dark seats,
Yeah.
But that was still a cool experience. And then in college, playing against Utica University now. I think they probably the odd it's called, but their rink they pack it out. They might honestly support the college team more, if not the same level as like their AHL team.
Yeah.
So they always have a sweet arena set up with even like when they score, like the lights and stuff like that. But yeah, they get loud. It's cool barn to play in.
Something that I actually meant to ask you, I don't know if we kind of covered it on the last show. We've done a few shows now, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like you ever really pursued that junior route that so many people go through. How did that happen? I mean,
Yeah, so when I was a senior in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So my coach, I was just mentioning before, who became my college coach, he was my coach my senior year of high school, and I loved playing for him, so I went back and did a postgraduate year at Albany Academy. And then that year, again, I was kind of still a little bit unsure about what I wanted to do, but just talking to my family, they kind of pushed me to just stay towards school because they didn't want me to get like out of the swing of that.
yeah.
And then I had an offer from Stevenson to go, so I took that. But also, I didn't really know junior hockey. Like my uncle, like he put me in hockey, but he only played high school hockey. Like he didn't have like a crazy grasp of like junior hockey and all that. And I know my coach could help me, but no one in my family like really went through that experience before, so it kind of just for us was just like, oh, I'll just go to college.
These other teams, did they approach you about maybe joining a junior team or stuff like that? Not really.
I don't even remember talking. I think I kind of just talked with my coach too and was like, I'd rather just go to school. Like,
I think that's really interesting, considering that, like, Pat and I have been involved with working the junior games, and it's just like these kids they're so invested in trying to get that college opportunity. So many of them are trying to get NCAA D3, and not just on the Danbury team, but all the teams in the league. And then obviously on the AHL level, it's guys who are more interested in trying to get to the D1 hockey thing. And it's just like it seems like there's way, it's like anything else, like it's any others, way more people interested in these opportunities than there are opportunities. And you didn't go through the junior route at all to get there, which is interesting. Like I only know a handful of guys, to be honest, that didn't play any junior hockey before going to an NCAA D3.
It's definitely rare.
Lynn Beadle comes to mind. I wonder if Lucas DeBenedette played.
He played junior hockey.
Did he? Yeah.
Who didn't? I don't know if any of the guys right now.
Just because you figure maybe Minnesota high school hockey, very competitive. You could maybe be make a, maybe not a seamless transition, but a reasonable transition to a D3 team. Like I said, Lynn Beetle, I think Lynn Beetle actually played in Bridgewater, Mass in junior. So I'd be wrong there. Yeah, probably very rare.
Yeah.
Did you think that, maybe a tough question is, did you think that you were kind of prepared to be a pro, having not gone through that?
For pro or for going into college like that?
No, for actually graduating from college and then kind of getting into this, let's just say, sometimes unpaved pro hockey landscape. Whereas maybe if you'd played some junior hockey, you would have gotten by on bus rides and stops at Subway and Cracker Barrel or whatever. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I think junior hockey definitely would have helped with that experience, as an intro. But I'm pretty adaptable, so I kind of just go with the flow, and then I think I'm pretty good about staying disciplined and. I think in pro, you have a lot more free time, whereas college is a bit more regimented. So if you're not someone who, I guess, stays pretty motivated, pro hockey might be a little bit hard to I guess, stay successful. There's not as much structure around you.
Exactly. And, those bus rides, too, just kind of going back to this, I mean, I don't know. They give me so many good memories from that run, and just... I know it sometimes they get a little wild, you know what I mean? Especially with Pete.
The bus rides are great though. That's
they were great, man.
I know they were fantastic, but Pete was a different breed, that guy. I'll make sure to cut that.
I'm gonna send Pete. Well, the thing about Pete was you couldn't create him. There's probably a character, if there's a movie about minor league sports and a bus driver, it's probably something like Pete. But, in the real world, you couldn't expect him to exist, but he does. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of he hammer down. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff is hysterical. I don't even want to. There's a couple of stories we can't tell.
No.
And they're just, and the funny part is, they're honest mistakes by him. It's not like he's doing something wrong. We can't tell this one story about this and that. But it was an honest mistake.
Honest mistake.
Yeah, he didn't mean to do it, but it was something we could maybe get in trouble for. You know what I mean? He's just a good dude that we had a lot of fun on all of those road trips, and I think that's one of the reasons. I think it's the only thing I can say is I did get to. Not only with Billy, but I also got to go with Dave a few times. The only thing I can say is that, when you look at minor league sports, when you look at Bull Durham, when you look at Slapshot, they're on the bus. Yeah. I mean, probably 1/3, maybe not a third, maybe a quarter of both of those movies is on the bus. Mm. So I don't want to say it's sad. I know it's always a budget and this and that, but it's when you guys are spending overnights together and walking to go. I've seen you guys walk to go to the gasser, as you call it, the gas station, as the hockey term is the gasser. You guys are bonding and it's exactly what teamwork and teammates is all about. Guys go out together. They get to spend that time together. They're on the road. I think that's a big part of being a professional. I think it stinks that there aren't as many kind of road games where you guys spend two. I know it's not easy at times. Guys have girlfriends. Guys want to work and a second job and stuff. But I really do think that's the time that you guys will remember the most, cherish probably the most.
100%. Those bus trips, telling stories. There's so many games that, win or lose, and then you have a good bus trip. So that's, you probably remember way more about those experiences than the actual game itself. So.
And then, speaking of road trips, next weekend, you guys are going to be on the road for 2 games consecutively, one in Watertown, one in Elmira. Watertown's been a tough opponent thus far, based on what we've seen from them. Are there anything you guys are kind of trying to work on to go into it better this weekend?
Yeah, definitely giving us a little bit of trouble here to start. But no, I think kind of just what we need to do is like focus on ourselves, and I think we know we're a good team, so it's just playing the right way, good habits, playing good simple hockey, Danbury hockey. Yeah, I think it really comes down to us, whether we beat ourselves or not.
I just think it's tough that we have kind of a bit of a gap here between home games.
Mm-hmm.
But before I let you guys, just to quickly touch on the schedule, how does that impact you? Has it kind of sucked to get off the bus and basically have to play right again at home? Has it been difficult or just not difficult, pain in the ass?
Yeah, like the new schedule, how we do like the home and home. It's definitely not ideal. Like you said, like I think we had with, was it Watertown? Or we got back at like 4 a.m. and then we had to play that next day at 7.
Yeah, against Bingo.
Yeah, it was against Bingo. It's like
November 4th.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So it's hard, but you kind of just gotta sleep as best you can and take care of yourself.
Yeah,
be ready to go.
I think that things are going to start to turn around now. I think that the rosters, not only around the Fed, but the higher leagues, we're getting to around the time, I think, traditionally when things just begin to slowly even out just a little bit. There's a little more shakedown. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I am I'm really confident that we can bring another good group together again, and I really believe that. Again, the league's wide open right now. Again, too, I think that there's talent out there, but I think if we do things right, we'll be in good shape moving forward.
I agree, 100%.
Exactly, and with that, X, thanks for coming back on the show. Best of luck to you this weekend, and looking forward to that home game after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was great chopping it up with you guys. One last comment. Really good mustache display.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
For
You're looking good too, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You're looking good.
Thanks.
I got to give you some type of a mustache award. You know what I'm saying?
I need something, yeah.
Exactly.
I got
so
a good bunch of comments on it, so I'll take
there you
something.
go. Perfect. And there you go, folks. Xavier Abdella.